Welcome back to episode number 9. Do you believe it's 9 already, Jay?
It's 12:40 by my clock, but yeah, no, 9 episodes deep. 9 episodes. That's
Ninth
I normally
episode of Branded Intent. This is
yeah,
Jay, and I'm
Brian.
little twist there. You
Yeah.
like that? We mixed it up.
And today's topic is feedback and adaptation. How to evolve your brand with feedback
I
and how to adopt
love
it without
feedback.
sacrificing your brand. Sorry, I'm rambling already.
I love
Um,
feedback.
I love hate feedback. So I'm if you mind, let me just jump into a short story. I'll keep it 60 seconds or less. Our new viewers, my name's Jay. I'm a brand developer based out of Las Vegas, formerly specifically a content producer. And before that, in my first life, my first profession, I was actually in the surf industry. I was the guy in some broom cupboard that would shape fiberglass, sand, every stage of the surfboard manufacturing process. I did. And I did it so long, I got to the point of building 10,000 boards for other companies like Lost or Channel Islands. I've built thousands and thousands of boards. Now, for my own personal designs, I didn't have the same budget for R&D that those companies did. Those companies can pump out six figures in just designing a new model and not blink twice at it because they're operating at scale. For someone like me at that point, for my own personal brand, I had to R&D with each person that I shaped for, and the only way I could actually revise each model was feedback. So I personally, I had a phrase. I was like, I would love to hear the 3 things you love about this board. I care more about the 3 things you hate. Give me the 3 things you hate. And it would throw a lot of the people I'd build boards for, cut their first custom or whatever, it would throw them. They'd be like, why do you want to hear the negative stuff? Is because for me, that's the stuff that needs to be fixed. That's the stuff if I'm getting ABC right, I want to know what XYZ is so I can fix that, right? So that's the pretext for this. Now, when it comes to branding and your business optimization, Brian has a little bit more experience with that. And this adaptation, I've never seen anyone move faster based off of one piece of feedback. So, Brian, I'm going to let you take this one. Let's jump into it.
It's interesting because I always come back to this. The description for this episode, now this was in our notes. Understand the importance of feedback in branding and learn how to adapt and evolve your brand over time while staying true to your core identity. This goes back to what are your values? What's your mission statement? I've said it time and time again. If you know what your mission is for whatever it is you're doing, it's easier to adapt. It's easier to decide, should I take A, B, or C? Because you can say, does A support my mission statement? Does it align with my values? If not, nope, not doing it. You don't even have to explore it because you're bouncing decisions off your core values and your mission statement. I cannot emphasize this enough because I can't tell you how many people start traveling down a road of creating something in their mind that is beautiful, and rightfully so, it is beautiful, but there's no knowledge of a legitimate penned out intent of why, other than I want to monetize.
It's
And
funny you say that.
it's okay to monetize, but it's okay for monetization to be in your mission statement, but that can't be the sole purpose, because then it's easy to say, oh, next week, maybe later, or put the evil mask on and become something you really didn't intend to be at the onset. Jay?
I'm just going to expand a little bit of what you just said. So, having there are companies that have in their mission statement, their goal is to pay back their investors, which is completely fine, right? That does put a pretext on every instance you're going to be chasing the most financially converting option rather than the optimized option for your brand. And nowadays, obviously, to the point where we built a podcast on it, branding is everything. Branding is your virtual reputation, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, if you're sacrificing your reputation for a dollar, you're, I hate to quote South Park, but you're going to have a bad time. It seems to be a little bit of a slippery slope, though, right?
In the long run, I say no.
Okay.
I might lose $100 today, but because I stuck to my mission and my values, I might earn 1,000 next week because I'm doing this with an intent. I put my customers first. I put everything that I do is there to serve them. Number 1. There are paid channels along the way, but they get more of me. They get more of what I give for free at a higher level
They get
because, A,
access.
you need to pay bills. I have employees, I have rent, I have insurances, I have this is a business at the end of the
Right.
day. But I've created pieces of content and went, yeah, this isn't ready. Let me go to plan B. This I could publish today, but it's not going to serve my audience. It's not true to my values. It's not upholding my mission statement. If you plan appropriately and you're not building this morning for what you need to release this afternoon, you can easily go, let me shelve this and work on it some more. And let's pull the next piece out that might be a little more prime for release. And
So,
in my idea bucket, I probably have 100 things. In my working on bucket, I probably have 50 articles that I'm constantly working on to get ready for release.
so this seems to be, we're definitely speaking on this from an entrepreneurial mindset, right? So if
Mhm.
you're listening to this, you're either striving to be in a management position at a company, or you have your own project that you are already currently either is off the ground, you're trying to optimize, or you're trying to optimize it before you get it off the ground. It's one of the two.
Right.
Yeah, this seems to be delayed gratitude as far as what we've just discussed right now. So being able to take that feedback, being able to allow yourself to have time to plan and revise and still keep the machine going while still keeping you, your family fed, your dog and your cat, all of it. So it's difficult when you, especially when you have a machine that's moving and it's covering your bills. You may not be fully succeeding, but you're not about to get kicked out of your house. But how do you tweak that machine? It's incredibly scary.
I want to I want to lift a veil. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Jay.
No, you're good. No, I was just gonna pull back the curtain on me personally. Brian and I have known each other for north of 5 or 6 years. When I came to him, I actually met him through LinkedIn and asked him to be a mentor because of his history and what he was doing at the time. There's an overlap in what my services could be and what his services were, or what my services were and what his were, and how we could help each other. And one of the things that he's seen me do is take all feedback and keep changing what it is that I'm doing. Now, everything that I've done, all my services and my skill sets have all been within the same vein, but it's hard. It was difficult for me to find a specific track, right?
Mhm.
I'm 31 years old now. I'm knocking on 32, 4 weeks from today, I think, actually. And it's a system, it's a slope. Like I said, it's slippery slope. Once you start tweaking everything, if you do not have that mission statement, which I've never had up until this last year, you end up putting yourself in a position like myself, which was very financially unstable. And when you're worried about where the next dollar is going to come from, you start doing anything for that dollar,
Right.
which doesn't support the actual brand as a whole. So use me as a story to avoid falling into the same trap. But this one was a hard one. For our notes, I didn't really put anything in just because I didn't know how much I wanted to share. Right now I'm feeling very generous,
Yeah.
but it's difficult. How to adapt without changing your brand. I'd like to expand on that with an example.
You know what? Before we get there, if I
Yeah.
may, before there's a how to adapt, why are we adapting?
Oh, that's
If
probably a good question to ask and answer.
and so many people will post stuff to social media, blogs,
Mhm.
whatever, and they're not paying attention to the analytics, the comments, etc. And they just feel that what they're doing isn't the right thing because they're not a millionaire yet. And every platform that you post to, there's some sort of analytic, and that analytic might be as little as, did anybody comment? And if they did, you comment back? That one act of replying to a comment lets all your readers know that you're here, you're alive, and you care. Step one. Most platforms have some sort of analytic. And how many people shared it? How many people commented? How many people favorited that item? Those metrics say, hey, I'm onto something here. Let me continue to go down that road, or let me pour gas on this path and grow it. But so many people are like, it didn't work. Well, I think they're unrealistic about how they're measuring what works and what doesn't work. At the very least, you have some metrics. And one of the most important tools that I feel people underutilize are polls. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they give you the ability to post a poll. And when you get that information back, do you just look at it and go, oh, that was cool? I got
Mhm.
10 people to answer my question. What were they answering? If you construct a poll, you can get information back that can guide the next batch of content. If people are saying, I like apples, what the hell are you feeding them watermelons for?
Another thing is you can actually, so when we analyze metrics for one particular piece of content, we're looking at the micro, right? If you're looking at a week's worth of content, you're looking at macro in that exchange, right? So the micro is just one, macro is whatever time frame or window you're looking at the overall architecture of your content output, right?
Absolutely.
Another thing you can go to look at is the comments underneath the actual pieces of content. So you don't have to put out a poll with one question and three options or four options and see what the graph is telling you, right? If I'm putting out content on surfing, right? And I end up in one video, I say, this is what's wrong with the surf community. They don't like salads. Some random, it just doesn't connect at all. Underneath that piece of content, there's going to be a ton of people. What are you like? There's going to be a lot of, we used to call it hate mail. Now it's instant. You can tell exactly what the conversation is or where the conversation is directing you based off of the content underneath each piece of content or all the conversation underneath each piece of content. So you can treat each piece of video content as its own poll. It just looks like a video.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just listen, ask. If people are asking the same question, I liken this to last episode, we talked about
Mhm.
web. If in your sales cycle, people say, how do you handle this? And you always get that question, you know how many people don't take the time to adjust their pitch to answer that question and or add it to an FAQ on their website? Do you realize just by doing those, one of those, both of those things, you're going to shorten your sales cycle? Your customer is going to be better informed. It's like we get all of this information daily, but we're so focused on what we want right now that
Mhm.
we're not paying attention to it and we're not improving the process. I don't know who said it, process over progress. And that's hard to digest. But when you step back and think about it, it's wow, if I get the process down, progress is not only going to come, but it's going to come with much more ease because the process is flawless. Processes change from time to time, but listen to what people are saying. If somebody says, no, Jay, what was wrong with his surfboard? Great
Um,
information.
yeah. Very recently, actually, the last board I just built a few weeks ago, the guy loved it. Can't say anything bad about it. After surfing for a few days, we built it for Bali and bigger waves. He came back, was like, dude, I love the weight, love the foam, the buoyancy. It works perfect with my body. I feel like I don't have to work hard to actually do what I want to do. Um, there is a little extra weight than he's used to in the overall, the weight of the board. Now he asked for it to be heavier, and now he's not remorseful by any means, but that was one thing, is I don't know how to maintain the strength to weight ratio. So that was one piece of feedback that I got. As far as, I'm trying not to ramble too much with taking too much feedback, or at least with relation to your brand. There's a point that you want your brand to get to, and I think that's when brands actually truly become successful. So when you start operating, what you as the company owner, the brand owner, you've put in years time to establish a brand, and then just because I don't know if it's boredom or you guys are just trying to venture out and expand your horizons, but you start doing something and working with people outside of what your brand is propped up on, you're immediately, you're going to start seeing people tell you, no, that's not your brand. This isn't what the company stands for. We've seen it with Carhartt. We've seen it with Budweiser. And I think Coors was recently. I'm emphasizing a little bit of a political topic on that one, if you know what I'm talking about. But that is an example. That's one of the biggest dramatic examples. I think overnight Budweiser lost a dozen points and then has continuously lost points in their company. Carhartt, they've lost some brand value just with the actual blue collar company. So I'm using those as examples, not trying to bring up anything, but you don't want to do anything that sabotages your brand. You only want to do things that fall in line and support your brand. And you would want to get to a point where the feedback you are getting is correcting you on your missteps from the brand that you have spent so much time to build.
Absolutely. And you know what? If at the end of the day, what you're shifting towards or giving attention is rooted in service and helping your community, it's harder to misstep. When it
Mhm.
aligns with your values and mission statement, it's even harder. And so many people are like, I don't know what my audience wants. Google Forms, an Excel spreadsheet, websites, some of them have plugins or drag and drop
Oh,
polling.
all the
I
drag
mean,
and drops do now.
it's I think a lot of people don't poll because they're scared to know. And if you don't want to know what your audience thinks or your customer base thinks, you've already lost, in my opinion.
I don't know if you've lost a lot long term, you've lost, but you're just not going to grow. And I don't know if anyone's paying attention today, but I don't know. Things are changing every other week. Like
Yep,
every month, there's a new AI tool that comes out. Every 3 months, every quarter, social media switches its algorithm. There's so much change that there's no reason why you should feel comfortable staying in the same spot. If you do, it's not a slam, but an employment position it would be a better fit. And at that point,
absolutely.
now before my last statement that I want to say before doing our official sign off is, if you're on social media, I'm specifically dialing in on social media because that's everything nowadays. We've already talked about how to brand your content and how to create a CTA in the actual video itself with an end card. We spoke on that, I think 2 episodes ago or last episode. I'm gonna amplify that one more step. So let's go a little deeper into that. Now, there's automation tools and this is one way to leverage people's attention and get them into your funnel. This is one way. This is also the same way that you use to encourage interactions with your content, which actually helps your piece of content in the algorithm. If people are commenting on your content and you immediately comment back, the algorithm sees that as an active attention generating piece of content, and it automatically will start putting in front of more people's faces. So how do you do that? If you're working on a script, you have it in the script, but you say, if you're interested in this being whatever that piece of content is focused on, if you're interested in this, comment down below whatever your keyword you want them to comment. Now, if you're using a tool, it's a software, plugin like minichat.com. That trigger word, you can set that up in MiniChat to set up a series of triggers to then essentially it's a soft entry into your funnel. It's a funnel within social media. So if I'm trying to give a webinar and I'm trying to get people into my webinar on how to design a logo, I can say, hey, if you want to learn my process into streamlining a 3-week process into a 2-day process, comment streamline down below. If I have this mini chat set up, when they comment streamline, I can have a trigger that automatically says, thank you for commenting. Please check your DMs. We left you a gift. And in that same trigger, that person that left a comment also has a DM for me with a link saying, hey, here's access to my webinar. You can put as many triggers as you want on this. It can get pretty deep, but the goal is to actually have interactions and have people driving traffic to your landing page that all supports feedback and everything else. So it's one tool. I got a little deep into that. Had nothing to do with analytics, but that is one tool you can use today. You can roll it out today. I think it's $10 a month.
And the cool thing is you can duplicate that trigger word and misspell it a few times, a few different ways. So when the person misspells streamline, they're still going to initiate the trigger.
But do create those specific pieces of content for your funnel after you've looked at the feedback, looked at whatever it is, right? So if people are hammering you because you're not clear on building a logo, then you create that one piece of content, say, hey, if you want to learn how to build a logo, design a logo, comment this. That's an individual piece. And that's, you can use that in direct response to the feedback you're getting to generate more interactions and more traffic.
Yep. And have fun with it. Be enthusiastic. Part of this is showmanship, right? You know, how many times have you guys walked a county fair or a large venue like that, and you see the guy with the mandolin chopping vegetables, and it's back and forth? He's putting on a performance. And you know what a mandolin is. You probably owned one, but you're still going to stand there and watch this guy chop vegetables because he's putting on a show.
Yeah, for the younger crowd, a mandolin is a dangerous device that everyone slices their hands on trying to make chips from potatoes.
That's why this finger doesn't look like this finger. But have them DM more, baby, or have fun with it. Be enthusiastic.
It doesn't have to be corporate.
Yes, please don't make it corporate and stale and sterile, and have fun.
But the takeaways today should be, you absolutely, for success, you need to be open to receiving negative feedback. You cannot take that personal. You should be excited to receive that feedback. If someone's taking time out of their day to give you genuine feedback, not just shitting on you, genuine feedback, they are interested in watching you succeed. They're in your corner.
Absolutely.
It just may be a little uncomfortable depending on what that feedback is on. If it's something you've invested tons of hours into, I hate to tell you, just try something, keep it playing, but roll out something else that is related to it, that and actually A/B test it, right? But
absolutely,
you need to be open to negative feedback. 2, you need to be emotionally flexible to be able to actually understand what and why they're saying it. Yep. And 3, remember, if someone's giving you contextual feedback, they're in your corner.
Right.
They're on your team. They're there to support you. They are not there to hurt you. Everyone else can go kick rocks.
Amen. They're not your obvious audience. So be grateful for the feedback. Be grateful for the comments, good or bad. You can learn, reframe that negative comment into what can I take away to improve, so not to get more and more. Mm-hmm. I think I just said what you were saying.
No, that's good. You just confirmed. You reassured everything I said in real time. That'll be it for me today, guys. My name's Jay. This was episode 9. You can find me at accountables. Is it net? I always forget. Accountables.work.
Network.
Network. Accountables.network. Sorry,
I have it. Accountables Network.
See, I have it pinned on my tab, so I just click it, so I don't ever type it. But you can find me at accountables.network, where you can also find Brian. If you're interested in connecting with me, my best place to find me is on Instagram, JAlba Jr., Jay Alba Jr. Jr. Or my landing page. You should have a landing page, jalba.com. That's spelled out. So, My name's
And I'm
Jay.
Brian. You can
Yep.
find me on accountables.network like you can with Jay. You can reach out to me there or any of the social media platforms. Pretty much if you Google Brian Colburn, I'm not the guy playing the guitar from Massachusetts. I'm the guy on the left coast talking about this.
Yeah, let me see what we're talking about next week real quick. Let's see. It's a long list.
But episode 10 is, drum roll please. I don't see it either. It'll be something fun and exciting and helpful.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Take care.